All right, welcome into the College Football Roundtable. I am your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at CFB Talk 07. We're going to recap week 6, which was an absolutely crazy week with my co host, CFB Season. Let's bring him onto the stage. There we go. What's up, Season?
Yo, 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 what's up, man? What's up, my boy?
It was a crazy weekend, wasn't it?
Man, that was the epitome of college football. That is what makes college football so great, and we are just so blessed to cover the greatest sport in the world, man. College
Yep, we,
football, bro, the GOAT. It just doesn't get better than that, man.
we said it on the show Saturday morning. It's always the weekends that we say or we.
All look good on paper.
Yep.
It's,
That
it's
we say is weak and it turns out to be the best.
it's tradition for college football. It's just
It's
go back and look. It's just tradition.
yeah. I think this is like the second time. I think almost every time there's been a weak slate, or what most people call weak slate.
Yeah,
This year, it's been amazing. This is like the second time this happened this year.
yeah. And if you go back and look on the previous season, it probably happens more than what we think too. To me, there's no weak slates in college football,
Never.
right? Just because we understand the purity of the sport, and we love the sport for what it is, and that's what makes college football so great.
Yep. It annoys me every time I see people on Twitter is just, oh, this weekend's slate sucks and nope. We only get 12 college football
Yeah,
weekends a year,
yeah,
and then after that, it's over.
yep. And
Season's
just
over.
and like I was talking to you earlier, like after yesterday, you try to watch an NFL game, it's just like this big snooze fest, bro. Just putting you to bed, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Been watching them all day, and almost fell asleep. it, was, it was a snooze fest. I think the only good games were Ravens, Bengals, and really the Bills and Texans. That was it, really. Other than that, it was pretty boring.
it's because the regular season doesn't matter in NFL.
That's right. That's right. And even with that's a good thing you said that because I seen yesterday on Twitter a Twitter account talking about the how the Vandy and Bama game didn't just doesn't matter. It's not as fun since there's a 12-team playoff and all this stuff. And like, if you have to have playoff implications to enjoy a game, then something's wrong with you because I don't need it. I
No,
don't. I don't need. I don't need Bama and Vandy to have a playoff implication for me to enjoy watching Vandy upset a team for the first time in forever.
just alone on that should get you going crazy, bro. Any type of upset should get you going crazy. I don't care if it's your own personal team that you gets upset. Any upset in college football is amazing in itself.
Yep. So with that said, that'd be a good segue to go ahead and get into that game. Vandy beat Alabama 40-35. Down goes the number one ranked team in the country. First time, or they were 0-60 against the AP top five before this game, and are now 1-60. So that is a massive upset by Vanderbilt. I
Massive.
cannot believe what I seen. One of the
Hell,
things that was interesting to me was the Bama secondary in the last two games has allowed 691 yards passing. And we knew coming into the season that that was a weakness. One of the things I wanted to ask you, Season, is you coach the game.
mhm.
You coach high school in Louisiana. And we were talking yesterday. What did you see? You were really impressed with the OC Tim Beck at Vanderbilt. What as a coach, tell people like what he was doing that was making him so successful.
I mean, I was so impressed with what Tim Beck did with this scheme in this game. I was so impressed that I had to call up some of my defensive personnel, people that I met through working in college football. And man, we had some good talks about this. And we agreed that Alabama's base defense was not, you couldn't rely on Alabama's base defense in this just from working on the film from this week. Vanderbilt was hitting them with so many different personnels, and it all came down to the quarterback Diego. Diego was phenomenal in this game. He has a threat with his legs that keeps the defense honest, And just, everything was because of the threat of Diego. Alabama had to respect him, which opened up everything for the scheme. Vanderbilt was hitting him with 12 personnel, 22 personnel, 31 personnel. Man, they were hitting him with three backs, two tight ends, and a lot of motions, a lot of misdirection on every play. And Alabama's linebackers were getting caught up with their eyes. They had to either squeeze or pick up the motion, and it was just creating a lot of fits for Alabama's defense. And man, just the personnel packages that Vanderbilt was hitting was really, really hard to stop. And my buddy that works in college football, he said that, man, to be honest, a base defense probably won't beat this team. You have to start preparing, honestly, in the summer to start preparing for this scheme. And honestly, what it came down to was the turnover battle. Alabama had two turnovers, and honestly cost them. You had to play perfect to outperform this scheme. And bro, just man, and Clark Lee was a former tight end or a fullback, right? Fullback. So you seen the blocking. The blocking was really they were really great with their blocking. I really think that the scheme eventually opened up some push off the ball. They've started becoming flat-footed. Alabama's defense. It was, man, just all those different personnel packages was amazing, and they were hitting the boundaries. They were spreading the ball out. They had two really key plays that stood out for me. Do you remember the 4th and 1 when Diego
Mhm.
extended and then he hit the late post over the
Yep.
top? That play was phenomenal. Diego was man, he was playing with such confidence. He wasn't being denied that yesterday. And then also they had another. I don't know if it was a 3rd and 1 or if it was a fourth down, but they also had a fake option with a tight end shuffle pass. That was another one that he drew out of his bag that was phenomenal. But yeah, to me, it came down to the personnel packages. Alabama's base defense, you wasn't going to prepare for that in a week one film, and Tim Beck out schemed Alabama's defense tremendously in this one.
Yeah, that is great stuff, people. That is why you watch this show, because we have a guy on here that can talk ball to explain to us casual fans that don't know the scheme stuff and tell us how it works. I thought this was interesting in the game. Um, let's see, stopped for no gain or a loss just four times all game. Vandy, they were stopped for no gain or a loss only four times all game,
Hmm.
and that is crazy when you're at such a disadvantage talent wise,
Yeah,
and you're
and
going against somebody like Alabama, and you've only was stopped four times for
what's
no gain
crazy,
or loss.
and when looking at the time of possession, Vanderbilt had the ball for 42 minutes. Vanderbilt
Yeah.
had the ball for 42 minutes. They had 54 rushing attempts in this game. Um, but it wasn't like both the pass and rushing attack was hitting. Just the scheme
Hmm.
was just so tough, and you had to be honest with the quarterback play that it opened up everything. And
Yeah.
one thing I do want to credit Vanderbilt is that they were stayed aggressive. They played to win the game late. They didn't settle and just run, force timeouts and try to punt it, and just play with your defense late with no and hope that they get a stop. But they took it, they played aggressive and they played to win.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and I loved it. Um, yeah, and they were also 12 for 13 on third downs, which is, I mean, if you want to beat a team like Alabama and you're at a disadvantage talent wise, that's one way to do it is winning third down battles. But back to like you were talking about with Diego, 252 yards, two touchdowns, zero interceptions. That golly,
Yeah,
he
and
is.
all the motions and misdirections was really hard, and they were using the boundary. Diego, you had to respect Diego in this matchup, and that you could tell they work on the scramble drill a lot. Whenever he's extending the pocket, he's finding crossing routes, he's finding the drags. Just man, Diego was phenomenal in this one.
Yeah, and it wasn't luck either. Like I mean, other than
Oh,
that
that
pick
looked legit.
six,
But
yeah,
yeah, the pick six was a little luck, but
but
everything
it
from
wasn't
that
like
scheme,
yeah,
everything from that scheme was legit.
yep, because it wasn't like because usually in upsets like that, for one, it's usually not 40 to 35.
Yeah.
It's usually like a bunch of crazy turnovers, low scoring. But no, I mean Vandy put it on them, and that
Um,
is a
and
huge credit.
Vandy did not go empty at all. Everything was 22 personnel, 31 personnel, 12 personnel, a lot of two running backs, a lot of two tight ends, sometimes three running backs. Just a lot of motions, though, man. A lot of split zones, a lot of motions. Just the misdirections. It forced the linebackers' eyes to get really, really triggered. It forced the DN to either squeeze or take the boundary, and it was just so tough to defend.
Yep. Before we move on to the next game, do you have any concerns with Bama moving forward?
So, and then I do want to say that part of me wants, I study college football. I've been keeping up with college football for a while, and I know letdowns happen. I know letdowns happen after, I mean, they just beat Alabama the week before. That was a huge, huge game, So letdowns do happen in college football, and unfortunately, with this scheme that was coming their way, you could not afford a letdown. You had to be on your you couldn't lose the turnover battle in this type of game. But I don't necessarily have too much concerns now. I am a little concerned after you got the stat put up after halftime of the Georgia game. What is the points Alabama has gave up? I know they gave up a lot of points since that halftime. I may be a
Yeah,
little
it
concerned.
was I got it right. 67 points the last 6 quarters.
67 points in the last 6 quarters for
Yeah,
Alabama.
six quarters against
I'm
Georgia, and
so
that's the
deep,
second half of Georgia and the four
and
quarters against Vandy.
so I am a little concerned with Alabama's defense slightly moving forward. They're going to have to clean up a lot of things. I think their defensive coordinator is relying a little bit too much on their base defense and maybe needs to start making a little bit more adjustments. But that's one concern I have. And now offensively, I trust Milrow. I trust Ryan Williams. They dangerous offensively. Their O line's nasty. Offensively, I don't have too much issues with Alabama moving forward. Even
Yeah,
although it came down to those costly turnovers, but still, I think if they could clean up the defense moving forward, they're still going to be a really, really, really tough team. I didn't drop Alabama too much in my top 25 this week.
yeah, I would agree with you. I don't have a concern necessarily. I think Alabama's still going to can go to the playoffs. My only concern is that it's obvious the secondary is a weakness. Two quarterbacks last 2 weeks, Beck in the second half and Diego in both halves, just kind of torched that secondary. So I think they'll be fine with the rest of the schedule, but it's when they get into those games against, like if you get to the playoffs and you're going against Dylan Gabriel or you're going against Quinn Ewers or Archman, whoever's playing that time, or Ohio State, that's when I think there's going to be trouble. I'm not necessarily concerned for the whole season, just when they get to the
No,
playoffs, if they get there.
that's fair. I kind of agree with that too. I think I do credit this to a letdown after a huge performance against Georgia too, in a way.
Yeah. All right. Next game. Let's get into the Tennessee Arkansas game. Arkansas wins. This is a bad show. I had it pulled up.
Tennessee, Arkansas, what a game that one was, boy. What
It was
I
amazing.
got some, I got some stuff for that one too, bro.
Yeah, it was. I'm doing it. This is horrible. Here it is. Somewhere. It's 19-14. Arkansas wins. Came down to the last wire. Or last second. They stormed the field. I was super impressed. We said it. I think I said it on the Saturday morning show. Arkansas is a team of chaos. You just don't know what you're going to get out of them. They
They're
one
dangerous.
week,
They could be
yeah,
dangerous.
one week they look bad. Next week they look good. You just never know what you're gonna get with them. Green, their quarterback, he's like really up and down, but when he's up, he is good.
He
He
was
was
like,
making some throws last night that were like NFL level type throws. Um, and that was their first AP top five win at home since 1999. Do you want to guess who the opponent was then?
was it Tennessee?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. So, yeah.
Uh,
What were your thoughts on that one?
how about the defensive coordinator Travis Williams? We gotta give this boy some respect, bro. You could tell he locked in on film all week. He had the best plan I ever seen for Tennessee's offense. And what was crazy about this was he was only bringing five. He
Yeah.
was he was getting to the quarterback. I mean, he wasn't blitzing. And well, he did hit some blitzes at times, and he would shade the safety over. And Nico did not do good with his slide protections in this game. But Travis Williams schemed the hell out of Tennessee's offense in this game. It was amazing. They were flying to the ball. They were hitting hard. They were up for this game. Arkansas, man, they were not scared of Tennessee at all. They matched the phys. They honestly were more physical than Tennessee in this game. Um,
Yeah.
for how great the defense played for Arkansas, I was really impressed with the offense. Maybe even more too, to be honest. How about the back for what's his name? Quindon?
Um, yes. You talking about
Yeah,
Arkansas's back or
man,
10?
he's Arkansas running back, man. He's freaking
Yeah,
physical.
Quindon Jackson,
Yeah, Jaquindon
20.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's really physical. Like we said, Taylor Green, he's fast, he's dangerous. He was making some throws. He ended up getting hurt late, and the backup quarterback came in and finished out a drive. But I think it was just they were up for this game, and credit to Travis Williams for that plan he had. There he was
yeah,
getting to the quarterback. Nico did not have much time at all, and just they were just blowing him off the line of scrimmage.
yeah. And he didn't have that great of a day, Nico. People are kind of ragging on him. He's still young. People are like he's his first year starting. I think I still believe he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback down the road. But just it's his first year starting. The kid's going to have some rough bumps along the way. And yesterday was kind of that. Also, I mean, we talked about Travis Williams having a great game coaching. I thought Heupel didn't do that great of a job yesterday with play calling.
Oh,
Um,
he got outcoached by Travis Williams. Travis
yeah,
Williams, you could tell he locked in on the film. He was ready
yep,
for this one. Anything
yeah,
anything that they tried, he was ready for it. He had a plan. And what was even like crazy was the pass rush. The pass rush
yeah,
was phenomenal. He was only
yeah,
he was only sending five at majority of the time. He wasn't sending, the full house. But the D line was really doing good with their block sheds, and that was really impressive. Travis Williams definitely a big winner in college football.
absolutely. And I think one of the surprising stats that I found today when researching this or when looking up this game, um, Tennessee's defense, which has been praised for how elite it has been, and it has been statistically, and it's looked great.
Yeah,
Yesterday, they allowed 7 plays of 20 plus yards.
I tell you what, Arkansas outmanned them bad. They were blowing them
Hmm.
off the ball. And
Yeah,
the week before against A&M, the O line was the reason why Arkansas lost. So you could
yeah,
tell you could tell Pittman got on his O line hard this week. That was the biggest improvement I seen with Arkansas. They were just smashing them down the field, bro. That was a really physical game.
yeah. And now they're 4-2, and um,
Arkansas is a dangerous team. That's a team you don't
they
want to
are
play. Arkansas is a
no,
team you don't want to play.
no. They're like we said, they're a team of chaos. So you never know what you're gonna get with them, and
Yeah.
it could end badly for you. All right. So we go on to the next one. What about let's go Missouri Aggies.
That's it.
Aggies put it on them.
Put them
Um,
on. Unfortunately, I do have a little thing I want for Missouri. So it was. I think part of this big blowout was to the slow start that they had. I think the players they threw in the towel early. You could tell. Um,
yeah,
which you I'll let you go first on this one. What you saw from
I
Missouri?
was super. Well, we talked about it on the Saturday show. I know I keep mentioning that, but people, y'all should really watch the Saturday morning show. It's a really great pregame show. But Saturday morning, I talked about it about how I didn't think Missouri was very explosive. Now they had hit a couple of explosives, and they had that penalty that messed up that one deep pass. But I wasn't fully bought into Missouri. I thought they were a good team. I just didn't think they were great. But I was so impressed with Connor Wigman. I couldn't have been more wrong about him.
Yeah.
I thought him starting was not good. I thought Reed would be the better quarterback for Texas A&M.
Hmm.
And Connor Wigman, he looked poised. He looked in control.
This
The
was best
offense,
team had.
yeah, it scored on 7 of its first 9 drives.
Hmm.
The running back Moss, 138 yards on the ground.
Hmm.
Um, I just and a game plan by his name's shoot, the OC for the Aggies. Can't remember his name for some reason.
Klein.
Yeah,
Klein.
Klein. Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
thought
he
his
had a
game plan was offense. I mean, his
I was amazed.
awesome.
I was impressed with with Klein's attack too. They were running
Yeah,
NASCAR. They were hitting them with tempo. Their run scheme is really impressive with Moss and Daniels. Moss is a great back. He's from Louisiana. I remember covering him. Moss is a great back. Daniels kind of popped out a little bit in this game too. Amari Daniels.
Hmm.
Um, they had two receivers that kind of popped out too for A&M. Finally, I remember a lot of people were down on the A&M wide receiver room. It's good to start seeing some wide receivers step up for them.
Yeah.
I think I really credit this blowout to the slow start and the penalties. Unfortunately, that took away some points. Now, Missouri's offense, in my opinion, has regressed a little bit, and Eli
Hmm.
Drinkwitz, he's going to have to make some adjustments and figure out what's going on. I don't know if it's the old line, but I mean, you still have Luther Burton, you still got Weiss, you still got Connor. You, like, I don't understand how the offense is regressing in a way, um, but those penalties early, I think they checked out. I think Missouri players checked out after those penalties and all that stuff that happened early. But I don't want to take credit away from what A&M did. Connor Wegman was balling, bro. He looked good. That was the best game he had. And how
Yeah.
about A&M's defensive line? A&M's big and physical. Shamar Stewart, um, what's the other? I mean, they got they big.
Yeah. They have
Shamar
uh,
Stewart. I can't think of the other dude's name, but
uh, Shamar Turner.
Shamar Turner and
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart. They big physical. The A&M's defense is very very they tough,
Yeah. Very tough.
very
And
tough.
Mike Elko. Um,
Now one thing I did pick away is that if you're gonna have to stop the run first against A&M moving forward.
mhm,
You're gonna have to stop Moss and Daniels. See what
absolutely.
Wegman does in third down situations. Wegman looked good early because he had momentum and he's hitting them with first and second downs. I'm curious to see how
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how he's going to look whenever it's third and longs and defenses could start scheming up a little bit better against him. But
That's abs-
you have to stop the run game first against A&M, or you're going to be in trouble. Though. You're going to be in trouble.
that's
They
a
really
really good point.
they're really good with their run designs.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He was helped a lot.
He's
Both
a,
things can be true.
yeah,
He had
a
a really
quarterback
great showing.
a quarterback can have a great day when you have an early success. You
Yeah,
have I have a lot of confidence on first and second down, quick hitters. With yeah, that's one thing I picked up with A&M.
yeah. Like you said, he was helped a lot, and that seems like when you're playing the Aggies, that has to be the game plan is to try to stop the run game and force him into some third and longs
Yeah, absolutely.
and see what happens. Which I'd have to go back and watch, but I think Notre Dame did a really good job of that. They just made him
They did,
uncomfortable all night,
yeah, they
and
did.
Missouri just couldn't do it. And I think Texas A&M schedule. I'm looking at it right now. They've got. I mean, they got LSU. That'd be a good test. And then after that, Auburn maybe, and then the big one, Texas. So this is a team that really. Oh, South Carolina. They got a. I mean, I know South Carolina's 3-2, but they've got a really good D line.
LSU
Um,
is going to be the test for them. I think
yeah,
that is not next week, but the following week. I think that is
it
going
is.
to be the test for them, and they get them at home. They get LSU at Cal Field. That's a good sign for them. But
Ooh, yeah.
that's the test, though. That's the test.
Yep. And so yeah, they're 5 and I think they're 5-1, and actually as of right now they are currently atop the SEC standings.
Three
They
and
are
zero.
first place, 3-0.
Three. They
So
already have three SEC wins. Wow,
yeah, how
that's a
crazy is this? If the season ended today, we would have a Texas A&M Texas SEC championship game.
yeah. That's
That
pretty.
would be nuts.
Yeah. Uh.
Nuts.
No.
Um, but yeah, let's go to Minnesota USC. That's a game that I watched a good bit of it. One of the things with Minnesota, they look really good running the ball, and that was a weakness of theirs before this game. They were like, I think, 14th in the Big Ten in rushing, but they did a really good job running the ball, controlling the clock. Quarterback was hitting plays. USC, what really confused me with them was Lincoln Riley. They had a lot of success running the ball, but he just quit doing it. Like in the second half, I don't know what was going on with that. I mean, their running back had 20 carries, 134 yards.
It's been a recurring theme for Lincoln
Yeah,
Riley, and it's not just us. I'm seeing it from a lot of people. Are they complaining about his play calling? It's not just
yeah,
us. So I can't, you can't put too much on it like that. But
yeah. for all the talk about the defensive problems last year for USC, I
Defense has
don't think,
been somewhat
yeah,
respectable.
yeah, I don't think enough gets talked about Riley's play calling because that's what's supposed to be his bread and butter. But he just, I don't know. I don't know if he's got a little too much Mike Leach in him. Rest in peace. Um, and just wants to pass the ball all over the yard. But
Yeah, I
that
seen.
you can get away with that in the NFL, but this is college, and running the ball is extremely important. And when you have a guy that's averaging 7.41 yards per carry, and you just kind of quick give it to him, that just doesn't make sense to me.
I seen. I seen some USC people complaining about their offensive tackles.
Hmm.
They struggling containing the edge, and Lincoln Riley likes to run a spread. He's not getting much chips. But I think the offensive line may be an issue. Could be,
Yeah,
especially the tackles. I went actually look back and try to look at some of their blue chip recruiting. Everything that I've seen from their O line is it looks like they got good interior O line. They haven't been getting too much really great tackles. So that could be a sign maybe we could point to.
hmm
Yeah, obviously the play calling. I mean, he got some studs on the outside, but it seems like it's not all put together. I don't know what it is because he's so trigger happy with the pass game and he had studs on the outside, but for some reason he's it's not all coming together.
it's yeah.
You could point to the O line maybe.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've seen a lot of that same conversation on Twitter. I follow a couple of USC people, and that seems to be the main complaint is the offensive line just isn't where it's supposed to be, and that could be attributed to me and you've talked about this. I don't know if we did it on air, but I know we've done it in private to the recruiting in California where the O line recruiting just isn't. It's not like what it
Yeah,
is in Louisiana or Georgia or
yeah,
Florida or
or the
the South,
Midwest or the
the
Midwest.
Midwest, yeah, or
Yeah,
the Midwest,
he's gonna
and
have to figure out some O line recruiting and
yeah.
uh what's crazy is that everybody always attacked Lincoln Riley because he didn't care about defense, but looking at this USC team, the defense it's been respectable.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought it did a good job.
You can't point to the defense saying as the main argument for Riley's unsuccessful season so far.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's mainly his offense, and then he gets into the press conferences. I don't know if you've seen it.
You see
They
that? Yeah.
asked, yeah, it's just it's you. Not only are you losing, and then you had the year you had last year, and now you're having the year you have this year. I don't know who's advising him. I just don't think it's smart to go in a press conference and act like a douchebag. I thought it was a legit question, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Max
it was.
Max Brosmer, the quarterback from Minnesota. I know he didn't have
Mhm.
a big day passing and getting touchdowns and stuff, but man, that's a big body. I seen him. I seen a couple clips of him. He could. Well, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. I was all in the red
Yeah,
zone. But
I mean, he did his job. I mean, I
he's a
think
big body, and he could get the ball to the perimeter from the left hash. He could throw from hash to hash. That was pretty impressive. I seen with Minnesota's quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like their job was what they wanted to do was they wanted to pound the rock, slow the game down. The running back Darius Taylor had 25 carries, 144 yards, but Max was 15 for 19, 169, very efficient, and he
Curious,
was
I'm curious to see what the time of possession in this one. This seemed
yeah.
like Big Ten right here.
Let's see, I had it pulled up, but yeah, it's just super impressive. I missed PJ Fleck, man. Oh, and I love that PJ
30,
Fleck went for it.
2 turnovers. Well, three turnovers for USC.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Moss had 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I love that flick. I think it was fourth and goal, is what, and he went for it. I love that aggressiveness right there.
he figured a field goal wasn't going to do it. Man, it
no,
came close, huh? On that tush push, it came like
yeah,
real close. I seen
yeah.
like on that 1 yard line. I almost didn't think he got in at first.
I didn't either. There was one camera angle where you could see the guy was like it was over the goal line. I thought, but yeah, that was an impressive win for Minnesota. 3-3 now, 1-2 in the conference. USC's now 3-2, 1-2. I think
Man,
it's safe to say,
USC didn't have they had a tough schedule so far. Every week they kind of been playing like somebody. I don't think they
yeah,
had.
yeah.
I don't know if they had a cupcake or not yet this year, but their AD got them a tough schedule this year.
Yeah, and then they got Penn State next week. And they got Maryland,
Hey,
Rutgers. Rutgers ain't easy.
here's one thing I want to bring up with these East Coast, West Coast traveling. Do you think jet lag could maybe play a role? Like,
I
look at
wish I could.
Miami. Look at Miami going to Cal. Look at USC going to like Penn. Like, I think jet lag could be a something coaches are going to have to start paying attention to as well. I don't know if you're going to have to travel maybe a day earlier to get accustomed to different time zones and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
that's
somebody pulled. I can. Gosh, I wish I remembered who did it, but somebody put up a stat of the teams that are having to travel like that, and it didn't look good. But yeah,
I'm
I
curious. Yeah,
absolutely
I'm
agree
curious to
with you.
see. I'll be curious to
Um,
see who's how they look like these East and West Coast, all these different time zone traveling.
if I could find it, but I'm not able to find it right now. But I do know I seen it earlier, and it was yeah, it was a problem, and that's what happens when you make decisions to get those big paychecks from certain conferences, and then you want to go and put your players on planes and travel across the country. It's can't
Yeah,
be easy. I couldn't imagine traveling from Miami, Florida, all the way to California and then
yeah.
having to go play a football game.
It's feasible for football, but man, like imagine
Yeah.
volleyball. Imagine volleyball on a Tuesday night, and like that's
Ah,
when come on now.
yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Um, all right. Michigan, Washington. Washington gets the big win. It was 27-17.
The
That
Natty
game was
rematch.
actually, yeah, the Natty rematch. They got their revenge.
Yeah,
Um, game was actually close there for a while. I think up until the fourth quarter. I know at halftime it was 14-10 Washington, and then Michigan, I think in the third quarter got a lead. It was
took the lead.
17-14.
Yep.
But I watched a good bit of that one. What I thought was it's like we've talked about. It's the pass game for Michigan because they outgained them 429 to 287. But they also had two fourth quarter turnovers. Um, Alex Orgy ended up getting benched. His first three drives, he had 16 plays and 47 yards. Um, and then he ended up getting benched. Turtle came in and he looked actually really good at the beginning. He went 7 for 9, but then finished 3 for 9 for 20 yards and had a crucial fourth quarter fumble.
Yeah.
Um, and Michigan's secondary actually really didn't look that great, and it's supposed to be a strong suit. They had 9 pass plays of at least 15 yards they let happen, and I think that was the difference in the game. Is Washington was able to be a little bit more explosive, and then the crucial turnovers by Michigan's pass game hurt them. They got to get that pass game fixed. Which I don't think they will. At this point, they are who they are.
Yeah, I remember saying on the show that if they could just keep winning, like this is the most impressive thing ever in modern day football. To win, not even getting like 80 yards passing every game and stuff. Like that's just insane. I knew it was gonna catch up to them. Like you can't in modern day football, you can't win like that.
They had 113 yards passing all game between two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
God, that is so
And
bad.
I wonder how many of those yards are coming on maybe one explosive play here or there.
Exactly. Yeah, and then they've got a schedule where they still got to play Ohio State. They got to play Oregon.
Mhm.
Honestly, looking at the schedule, I don't see any of these as a guaranteed win. I think Illinois could beat them.
Mhm.
I think Michigan State could pull off an upset. I know Oregon's going to beat them. Indiana, I think Indiana could beat them.
They're gonna
Um,
they're gonna have to try to scheme as much as they can offensively.
yeah,
I don't know if they got to take notes from Vanderbilt, but they're gonna have to figure out something.
yeah. When you don't have a quarterback, it's going to make it hard. This is they're in for a long. That's a rough stretch right there. Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon, Indiana. I think they could beat Northwestern. Northwestern's pretty bad, and then you got to go to Ohio State or play Ohio State. And yeah,
I
I don't
will
know.
I will say this: they won the national championship last year, so it has
Yeah,
to be a lot easier going through this after winning a championship,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I've always told people I'm obviously a Georgia fan. I've always just wanted to watch one national championship in my life, and I got to see two of them. And I don't care if Georgia goes 0-12. I'm gonna die a national champion.
Yep.
That's all that matters to me.
Yep.
And I
Uh,
think the Michigan fans are probably thinking the same thing. I know they're frustrated right now, but
oh yeah. I mean, you just won a national championship, but I would be all right this year. Go recruit your quarterback. Go clean up some stuff here, and start prepping for the future.
yeah, because that's really all they're missing. I mean, you get you a good quarterback. They got a good O line. They got a good run game. They got a solid defense.
Clean up a
They,
lot of stuff in the off season. They
yeah,
lost
that's,
a
I
lot.
mean,
They lost a lot too from that national championship year. They had a lot of attrition. It's so hard whenever you lose a lot, and you got new quarterback. And the quarterback unfortunately isn't great with the pass game. So they just gonna have to make a lot of changes and start building up again.
yeah. I shoot, my AirPods fell out. Yeah. So yeah, that was a really good game. I didn't get much eyes. Did you want to touch on Miami Cal real
Yeah,
quick? Just any
man,
thoughts on that
that
game?
was that was 35-10 in the second half, bro. What a comeback! What a
That's
comeback!
when I fell asleep.
Um, Cam Ward, Cam Ward is the difference maker for Miami. The way his style of play is the reason why they undefeated. If he's not as trigger happy as he is, they ain't winning. They ain't undefeated right now for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
He's looked good.
he's great at extending the plays. He's great with the scramble drill. Cam Ward, man, that comeback was phenomenal. Actually went to bed on it last night, but I woke up. I was like, oh my god, they pulled it out, bro. They pulled it out last
Yeah.
night. What a game, bro. What a game.
When I woke up this morning, I was surely thinking that Cal had pulled the upset, but nope, it was Miami pulled it off, and they're going to remain undefeated. Speaking of, we're talking about great players. What about this beast right here on the screen?
Ashton Jennings,
Yeah, I mean,
man.
what about this dude right here?
So Ashton Jennings threw 5 games, 1,031 yards, 16 touchdowns. Let me tell you his per game. All right, he is averaging 10.9 per pop, 206 per game, and he has three touchdowns a game, basic 3.2 touchdowns a game.
Yeah,
He's on pace to break Barry Sanders' rushing touchdown record.
and he's doing this. What's crazy is he's doing this, and they're sitting him in the second half a lot of
Yeah,
games.
he hasn't played much of the second half. Whew.
Like
Uh,
I love this kid. Like his highlights. I showed my wife his highlights, and
he's,
I've said it 1,000 times on here. My wife can't stand football. She don't care for it.
yeah,
So when I showed her the one highlight where dude was missing, he broke like 8 tackles. She was just like gasping and going crazy. Like that dude is nuts.
he's hard to tackle. He's freaking fast. He's slippery. Very,
Yeah,
very aggressive. Very confident.
yeah. I mean, first
Um,
play of the game, his first carry of the game, 63-yard touchdown right there. Just, I mean,
yeah,
good night.
you
And,
gotta.
and
You can't.
what's so? Oh, go ahead.
No, no. I was just gonna say, like, you gotta have hats to the ball on these types of running backs. He's gonna win his one-on-ones about 90% of the time. You gotta scheme up a way to get hats to the ball. Like that's the only way you're gonna be able to stop this cat.
Yeah, and what makes it really cool is yes, the competition level right now isn't, but he did this against Oregon, a team that is picked to go to the playoffs. He rushed for
He's
a
the
lot
real
of
deal.
yards.
He's the
He's
real
the
deal.
real deal,
You
and
can't make arguments about the competition. He's the real deal.
uh,
He's going to be a first round draft pick for sure. Top five.
absolutely. And I mean, look at this: through 5 games, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, and Reggie Bush. Look at their stats, and then compare it to him in 5 games.
Yeah, and the Heisman's very very big on stats. Um,
Absolutely.
I hope I don't get too much hate in this. I got him second right now in the Heisman race.
I don't. Travis Hunter. It's hard to
I still
pass
think
that guy.
Travis, for how phenomenal and statistical what Ashton Jennings doing, Travis Hunter to me is still the best player in college football.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't think many people are going to argue with that, but he definitely he has a really good
He's,
case.
he jumped. He jumped. He's two now. He's solidified number two.
Oh yeah, and there's plenty of ball to go. Travis
More
Hunter,
better
they got a big game this weekend against Kansas State. So one slip up there, don't have a good game. Um,
Jenny could easily
and
move up.
yeah. So before the show, our boy Season, he posted on Twitter. He was not pleased with the AP top 25, and
Yeah,
let's get into that before we end the show today.
I'm upset with the
What
top 25. I disagree with it pretty as a whole. I really disagree with it. I mean, look, you got it pulled up right here. Um, okay, like look, Michigan's still ranked. Like Michigan can't even average 80 yards passing. All they doing is winning just on their defense alone, and they still ranked. Missouri is still ranked. You know, but like Iowa State had a really big jump. Iowa State at 11. That kind of stood out to me. BYU's really high at 14. Penn State and Oregon both jumped Georgia. Alabama dropped all the way to 7.
Yeah.
Like I this is the worst AP poll they had this season so far. Mine looks completely different. I think they very boldish on teams that don't need to be boldish, in my opinion. I do have Texas 1. I do have Ohio State 2. That's my top 2 teams right now. But I just it's kind of an ugly top 25 this week.
Who'd you have at 3?
Let me pull it up 1 second. I got Bama 3, Georgia 4.
Yeah, man. I don't think that's crazy. What like you said, the Oregon one, and there's nobody that loves Oregon more than me because I love the Ducks, even
Yeah,
though I'm a Georgia
I know.
fan.
Yeah,
But Oregon has not looked to me like the number 3 team in the country. I don't care if they have
uh,
0 losses.
they flirting with the top 6 for sure.
Yeah,
I
and
just I can't see how you put them ahead of Georgia. And
I can't either.
same thing with Penn State.
Yeah, same
Penn
one.
State Penn State has been dominant this year. They have been controlling all their games and stuff like that. That was kind of a boulder's jump as well to throw them over Georgia. Um, Alabama dropping this. I understand the loss to Vanderbilt was probably like everyone freaked out about it and stuff. I mean that was a scheme thing though, in my opinion, and a letdown performance from a really really tough game against Georgia the week before. I think Alabama's still tough as nails. I'm glad Tennessee didn't drop too much. Now
Yeah,
LSU was on a bye week. They didn't even move up. They didn't even show no
yeah.
love.
That's what's crazy to me. I think they should be above Iowa State. Like, look, I love Big 12 football. We don't.
Notre Dame
We
too, I
love.
think, in my opinion.
Yeah, we love all the teams in college football, but Iowa State hasn't played a good enough schedule to me to be above LSU. Um,
Shit, they
I don't
11.
know.
Uh,
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I think LSU should be either
yeah,
11 or 10.
Utah at 16. Yeah, I don't. I'm not too happy, and I don't agree with this top 25 this week. But I mean, it's going to change, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And honestly, it don't mean anything at this point. We do our own poll, which will drop. I think it's tomorrow. At some point tomorrow, and we'll get it out there on Twitter and hopefully hit a reaction show Monday or hit it Tuesday on one of our shows. So tune into that to see where we think it should be ranked, or how it should be ranked. But yeah, man, is there anything extra you
I
want
hope
to chime in?
whenever we do our poll, I hope our contributors don't get brain or I don't want to say brainwashed or like swayed. I hope they don't get swayed by the AP top 20. I hope they stick to their own guns and do their own thoughts for their ranking. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want them to go off what the AP did. I want them to have their own voting here. I hope we do that this week.
I'm gonna give you my.
I would like to see a completely different, our collective, our accumulative poll. I would like to see a completely different look from this AP week.
I'm gonna give season my top 10, and let's see how long after this show he fires me and never talks to me again. I shouldn't probably do this because I want to keep doing this show. All right, here it is.
What you got?
Texas, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Let me make sure this is actually the right week. Hold on. Yeah, week 7 for the week 7. Okay, yeah. Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Miami, Penn State. This is where you're gonna kill me. Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee, LSU. I,
Overall, it's not
LSU's at
bad. Only
LSU's 10, so that way you don't fire me.
um, I, Clemson and who else you said?
I think it's just because I had Alabama 7. I thought you would probably be like, oh, I'm gonna. But yeah, I had it's Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Miami, Penn State, Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee, LSU. That's my top 10.
Yeah, overall, it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. I can't hate on it too much. I would have Alabama just slightly a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you higher on Clemson a little bit than what I am.
Yeah,
Clemson has been getting better and looking better though since
I
since the
am. Yeah.
since the week one loss though. The offense is really starting to put it together. We all knew their defense was really nasty. Clay Club Nick starting to shine. The O line's giving them a clean pocket.
Yeah.
From
Yeah, they look good, and this is all subject to change. I don't have to turn this in till tomorrow, I think. So I may sleep on it and wake up tomorrow morning.
yeah, my top. I'll tell you my top 10.
Yeah, give it to me.
I got Texas, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Miami, Penn State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, LSU.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I like that one. And yeah, like the thing that I think sometimes I get a prisoner of the moment. Head to head should matter. And I like that you are valuing that with Alabama, Georgia. Because that's, I mean, at the end of the day, Alabama beat Georgia, and
I'm big on head to head. I'm really big on head to
yeah,
head.
and and that's
Now
how it should be.
now you they got all kinds of factors you got to do. You got to do eye test. You got to do head to head. You got to do most deserving, and you got to do best overall. You got if you could combine all four of those, then then you can make an argument that Georgia could still be ahead of Alabama.
Yeah, I think the thing with me with Georgia and Alabama, it's not that Alabama lost to Vandy. I mean, that plays a factor in it, but the thing with me is I can't erase the second half of that Georgia Bama game. Yes, Bama won, but I just can't get out of my head how good
They
Georgia
were
looked in that second half.
like it came down to a couple plays that if Carson Beck hits the back shoulder with his ball placement and
Yeah,
throws a touchdown, they probably win the game. They
yeah,
probably win the game.
absolutely.
Um,
And
and they gave up. What was it? How many points you said the last 6 quarters? I forgot.
it's like 67 or 68, something like that.
People could also point to that as well for Alabama. But
Yeah,
to me, I think it was a letdown from the week before. I just think they didn't take it as serious maybe as they needed to. We're gonna see how they look next week. See if they play a little bit more angry.
yeah, and I think before we end the show, I think I was thinking about this earlier. I'd actually talked to my buddy about it, and he's a Bama fan. One of the things I'm starting to notice with Bama that's kind of concerning me is the extracurricular activities we're starting to see in the
Uh,
games, with
yeah,
players fighting and acting a fool.
unsportsmanlike.
Yeah,
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to see Alabama do that.
that's not something that happened under Saban very often.
Bama fans are going to Bama fan too. I don't want
Yeah,
to. We all know how Alabama fans are.
yeah,
I
we
got
love you, Bama fans, but
I got to deal with Bama bandwagon fans in Louisiana like all the time. But
in a
Bama fans
state
are going
where
to Bama
Bama
fans.
fans exist.
Bama fan. They will. They always will.
That's right.
So DeBoer he's experiencing it. We are
Yeah.
all waiting for this moment to come.
Oh, I've been on message boards. One of the prominent Bama message boards deleted their game thread so people couldn't read it. Which to me, one of the funnest things about college football is going on these message boards and seeing the absolute meltdowns. And Bama, they're melting down. They are melting down hard. But man, this was a great show. We had 28 viewers, it looks like, which is awesome. We appreciate all you tuning in.
We hit over 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so
we're gonna
please sub to that.
small wins are still wins. We're gonna put our
Absolutely.
next goal. Let's put our next goal at 250.
Yes, please. And hopefully, hey, if we get big enough, we can do some giveaways. I don't know about
Absolutely.
season, but I'm too poor to do one right now. So y'all keep subbing, and maybe we can make some money off this and do some giveaways and cool things and grow this thing.
We're
It's
gonna keep growing with it, man. I'm having so much fun with this. We're gonna keep growing with it. It's getting better and better.
Yep. And so yeah, tune in Monday, possible show for the reaction to our poll. And Tuesday, possible as of right now, we have a guest lined up. I'm not going to say who it is yet, just in case anything changes.
Yeah.
I'll announce it on Twitter Tuesday morning once I get it confirmed. But hey, if he doesn't come on, we can do like we did last week. Me, Bus, and Boot did a just a 45-minute show just talking ball. And
That's always cool.
yeah, with that said, season good luck. Who y'all got this weekend before we go in football?
Oh, we play Westminster.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
good luck, man, and I'll see you later, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's see you next time, bro. Good show
All right.
today.
Yes, sir.